Hey class, this is Mr. Clark, your teacher, and this is a PowerPoint presentation that I've created about one of your activities that you'll do often in this class, the Make Six discussion board activity. Next slide. There are many ways to study, and one of the ways that I've found to study is to try to anticipate test questions. And so creating possible test questions is something we're going to do in this class. Next slide. I personally like a format of questions that are like the one that I've shown over here. All of the following statements about something are true except, and here's one of those questions. All the following statements about California are true except A, it is the most populous state. That's a true statement. B, its capital is Sacramento. That's a true statement. And D, California became a state in 1850. That's also a true statement. This statement, of course, is false. California's largest city is not Lemoore. So if you were answering this question on a test, you would choose letter D. Next slide. Now, you may or may not like this format, but there's some reasons why I like it. In some respects, it's really nothing more than a true-false question. These are true, and this is false, and you're picking out the false statements. It requires a little bit more reading than a traditional true-false question, but you're just trying to hunt down one that doesn't fit. Or another way to look at it would be is you're trying to determine which ones are true. Next slide. As I said earlier, the first three responses are true and this one's false. Next slide. So your task on this discussion board activity is to create 6 of these types of questions for each reading assignment and post them on the Canvas discussion board, and then you and your classmates will respond to each other. And I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Next slide. Oops. It says here, please use the format that's shown. So when you're posting, you need to include this part of the question. Don't just put your responses or these things. Anyway, use this format. All the following statements about something are true except. I'll show you more about that in just a minute. Next slide. So here's the assignment that you'll be doing. First thing is to read the assigned pages out of the textbook. Normally, the assigned pages will be in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 pages per reading assignment. Next slide. Secondly, you'll find a concept, a person, an event, a trend, something, a major idea from your textbook about the topic that we're on at that time. And you're to find 3 true statements about it in the textbook and create a question. Here's one that would be in the same format you would do. Let's say this section was about Europe in the Middle Ages, which you will be reading about later. And it asked you a question about the so-called Black Death. Here are 3 true statements about the Black Death that I've created. And this is actually in the format and what you would submit to me as one of your 6 true statements. One of your 6 Make Six questions. Next slide. Your statements need to highlight main ideas about the topic. I'm not looking for trivia here. I'm looking for important main ideas, and I think you can pick out main ideas. You know what a main idea is. Next slide. Your questions should be spread out. So if the reading assignment is 20 pages, for example, you should create 1 question for each 3 or 4 pages. Don't just all do them from the same page. Next slide. Now, you do not need to create a false response. So if I was creating these questions for a test for you, I would include a false statement like this one. The disease only affected men. That's not true. It affected both men and women. But you don't need to add this. You would just, in your post, just put this part, which is the question, and the 3 true responses. Next slide. So you create your 6 questions from the pages that you're supposed to read. And then after doing that, you'll have access to your classmates' questions. Students are required to add an additional statement to the questions created by your classmates. Now, remember, don't use any questions that are identical or similar to the ones you've created. So, for example, if you were posting a question about West Hills College, don't respond to a student with the exact same topic. Your topics that you add to should be different from the 6 that you originally posted. Next slide. Your addition is to include the entire question created by your classmate. Do not duplicate any of the true original statements. Your addition needs to be a main idea that will add to the question. So here's an additional true statement to a question about West Hills College. Yes, its nickname is the Falcons. That's true. It is a community college. It does have multiple campuses, and this would be an example of what an additional true statement you would add to that. Anyway, next slide. The process of creating test questions and adding to the questions of other students, I think, is a great way to review the material, to see what other students' questions are. I think that's a good thing. Next slide. Post your discussion board assignments as soon as possible. This allows your classmates to be able to respond before the last minute. So it's just common courtesy, and it's really something that's important for interactive discussion boards. Your classmates are depending on you to post so they can post responses. And if you wait until the last minute, that hurts their ability and your ability actually to post to other students. So please, your original 6 posts should be done way before the whatever the deadline is. Next slide. Discussion boards are a vital part of an online class. Failure to fully participate in discussion board activities will result in your being dropped from the class as per the syllabus. This is something I'm very serious about. The college requires online teachers to do discussion boards as a way, for example, to determine attendance, to determine if you're participating in the class. And it's, again, something that is one of the more important parts of the class. And if you blow off discussion board activities or don't fully participate, it's going to hurt your grade. These are relatively easy points. If you do the discussion board activities, you're going to get credit for them. They are worth points. So please take care of that. Next slide. So right here, I've included the actual steps to do a Make 6 activity. I won't go through them all again, but here they are for you again. Hopefully you've followed along and understand my this assignment. I hope this information helps you. If you have any questions, please contact me electronically via email or Canvas. Good luck this semester. One thing that I think I forgot to mention to you: don't duplicate exact questions that your classmates have created when you're responding to their question. For example, on the one that I gave you, if somebody created a question about West Hills College, hypothetically, don't you add to a question that has the similar information on it. Try to add to one that's different from one of your original 6. Anyway, good luck. Thank you.